I love making something out of nothing. I'm not trained, but I am brave and determined. Of course, I could hire a professional, but DIY first. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Vlogmas. This is episode 6. Yeah, I think it's episode 6. So what I want to do today is try to finish these lanterns, at least to the point to where I can kind of show you the final vision and everything. And so I stained these the other day, and because I'm doing a two-tone finish, I need to do some taping off in some areas. I wanted to show you guys the little, like, quote unquote decorative piece that I was referring to in the other video. So this is the profile. I don't know if that's showing up. This is the profile of the scrap piece. So these boards, I think, were taken off of old dresser or some kind of mirror, like a dresser mirror frame or something. I don't know, but it was pieces that I had disassembled from something else to scrap the wood. And so when I cut down the long pieces, these skinny pieces here for the vertical parts of this ended up being what was left. So I decided to use this sort of as a decorative kind of front piece, sort of. And so that's what I was referring to when I was talking about the little trim piece. So anyway, obviously I need to tape off the areas that won't be painted. So the parts that are going to stay walnut colored needs to be taped off. And I haven't put a top coat on them yet. And if I wasn't doing Vlogmas, I would probably do this in a different order. But what I'm going to do today now is go ahead and tape off the areas that I don't want painted. And then I'm going to go over those edges with this clear poly. And that will seal the edges and keep the paint from bleeding underneath the tape onto the stained area. So I'll need to be pretty careful on how I install the tape so that I make sure that all those areas are protected. And I think I might go ahead and assemble the smaller lanterns because it's still in pieces. I may do that. And so I think I'll wait maybe 2 hours or 3 after I put the poly on. I think it said you can recoat in 2 hours. So I may just stick with the 2, and then I'll come back and paint. And I'm using my same Rust-Oleum black enamel finish that I've been using outside for everything else, because I think it'll give it a good protection from the weather and stuff. And then once that's dry enough to handle, I may go ahead and kind of style this up, or I may have to wait until tomorrow because it actually does take about 24 hours for that paint to really cure. So we'll see if that makes it into this particular video or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this taped off. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and so I'll get this taped off and get the little seal the seams, and then come back later and actually paint.
Hey guys, it's a little bit later. I just finished working for the day and I'm gonna go ahead and get my desk set back up to be able to put the black paint on these. And so I did not assemble the top part of the little ones because I want to paint first, and that's going to save me a lot as far as trying to take stuff off and trying to be so careful. So hopefully my little technique with the poly on top of the tape will give me a nice seal there so that I get a crisp line. That's the goal anyway. And I did not put poly on the stained areas yet because it actually takes like 2 or 3 days for it to fully cure, and I don't have that type of time. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint them, and in the areas that'll be black, and then I can go back later and put the poly on the smaller areas that are going to be stained, just going to stay stained, and I think that'll be fine. So let me go ahead and get this paint on and give it time to dry so we can get them styled and get them set up.
guys, it's later. I mean, it looks like it's really late, but it's really like 6 o'clock. It's just dark. I decided to let the lanterns dry overnight, so I'll show you guys in the morning what they look like, painted and stained, and I'll go ahead and style them and put them in place. I want to make sure I give it time to dry, give it enough time to dry, and so I'm not making a mess by handling them. That's my main concern. I don't want to get that black paint everywhere. So I'll show you guys that in a little while, but what I'm doing right now, I'm headed to the store to pick up some butter. I am going to try to rescue my bread. I figured out, I think it actually is the salt. I think I forgot to add salt. And so while I cut it open and it looks okay on the inside, it does not taste good. But I'm thinking that since the issue is not necessarily the texture, it's the flavor, that if I can flip it into something that is very flavorful, a different dish that's very flavorful, maybe I can save it and not waste it. I hate wasting stuff. So I thought maybe I can make a bread pudding, and I said that, you know, normally you don't add salt to bread pudding, but maybe I can add the amount of salt that I was supposed to add to the bread. Maybe I can add that into the what is it, like custard mixture or whatever the liquid is, and see if that can kind of work its way in and do what it's supposed to do. Now, I called my mom to ask her for her recipe, and she gave me the list of ingredients, but she didn't say how much of everything to use, because I mean, my mom is a good cook, and so she does not necessarily like measure stuff. She can just eyeball it, or just like just put about this much. I asked her one time how she makes her dressing, and she showed me. But as she's doing the spices, and I said, well, how much of this do you put in there? And she would like put it in her hand and say about this much, and just dump it in there. And I'm like, how much is this much? I don't know. So anyway, I'm very type A. I'm very like by the book structured type. So I kind of struggle with imprecise measurements. So, but I think I can figure this out, because I think if I taste it, it should like taste good. And then I can know, you know, that it'll probably taste good on the bread. So that's what I'm going to do. So I think I have everything else that I need, and I'm just going to get the butter and go back to the house and see if I can pull this thing off, because I mean, it can't get any worse than what it is, because it really is kind of inedible. It's like, we can't eat that like it is. I gotta do something, otherwise it's just gonna go in the trash. And if it's gonna go in the trash, I might as well try to help it out first. I don't think I can make it any worse. So that's what I'm doing. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, guys, so the first thing I need to do, I think, is to cut this bread. It is pretty hard. I don't know, but I know that the bread pudding has a lot of liquid to soak up in there, so hopefully that'll help it out. But I'm gonna cut the bread first, and then we'll kind of mix up the ingredients and see what we come up with. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is mix this stuff up in a big bowl, because I just thought about it. If I just pour the liquid over this bread like it is, it's probably not gonna get all of it. And with how this bread tastes, I don't want any parts of it untouched. So I'm gonna get a big mixing bowl. I'm gonna get a small bowl and a big bowl, mix the liquid, and then dump it all over the bread and see if I can mix it around and get it worked in really good. All right, so I think I got all my ingredients here that I need. So I'm gonna see if I can pull this thing together without precise measurements. So I do know that I need about two eggs. Should I Google it? I'm getting nervous. Maybe I should Google it. Well, this recipe got more stuff than what I'm using, so I'm gonna modify. I'm using oatmeal. Said half a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna throw in an extra one since there's no salt in the bread. Let's see. 1 tablespoon vanilla extract. Do they use cinnamon? They did not use cinnamon. I'm gonna use cinnamon. How much cinnamon? I don't know. I'm just gonna do this much. Sugar, they use 2/3 cup. Okay, we'll do 2/3 cup and test this out. Now I think I need a bigger bowl. I want to be able to really mix it. That don't seem like enough liquid, but we're gonna see. So this instruction said let it sit for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna do that. Let it sit for 10 minutes, then transfer it into a baking dish, and obviously I'm gonna need a bigger one. This one is not gonna be big enough, so I'm gonna get my long pan and we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's see. I don't know if this is enough liquid, but we're gonna go with it. This recipe had a lot more ingredients, but anyway, I'm going to dump it in here. I think it's supposed to have more enough liquid. I don't know. And we're gonna put some butter on top. Well, this is like fake butter, but anyway, I'm gonna put this on top. I think it's supposed to be more liquidy than this, but okay. I'm gonna go with it.
What's supposed to be liquid?
More juicy.
Put more juice in it. So you won't be like, some told me. Y'all don't follow you first, y'all. You know what it is, liquidy.
Okay.
See, you found that vanilla flavor. Vanilla extra. You said once.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, what was that, 95?
Probably in college.
Oh, hey, okay.
All right, we're officially in the oven. So I put it on 40 minutes. Maybe I need to do 30, but I'll just keep an eye on it. But we'll just see how it turns out. I'll let y'all know. All right, I think it's done. Let's see what happened. Moment of truth. It's okay. Could be a little sweeter, but I think it'll do. It's edible. I consider that a win, considering where we started.